So, welcome to the first episode of A Farm Girl Goes to Boston. This is going to be a series about me interviewing my mother so that I can capture some of her family history and just have a lot of fun during the COVID-19 crisis. So, thank you for joining. Hi, Mom. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. This is a fun thing to be doing. Thanks for coming up with this idea.
Okay, well, so here's what I thought we would do. I thought I would dig up some pictures from your early childhood as a place to start, and we could just go through some storytelling. So, should we begin?
Please, let's do.
Okay, so this is an old picture, and it seems to be of a nice old tractor, a young lady sitting on a guy's lap with a bunch of hay. What's this picture about?
Oh boy, this tells the story of farming in the late 1940s, shortly after the war is over. I was born in 1945, and that Case tractor was really difficult to come by. When my dad came home from the Army, he could not find farm equipment because of all of the shortages. But not only because of all the shortages, but also because of the black market. Because the people who had access to equipment were charging exorbitant prices for them. That's all I remember from childhood stories. I don't know how he finally got the tractor. I just know it was difficult to come by. And of course, I must be about 3 years old in that picture. And I notice, of all the things to notice in that picture, I notice my shoes, because my mother had this theory that I should wear those old brown high top shoes so that my feet would grow healthy and strong. But I finally got a pair, I think in that picture, I can't see it right now, but I think I finally got my first pair of saddle shoes, black and white shoes, and I loved them.
So that's
I
really
was the
interesting.
tractor and my shoes and my dad. He's the guy whose lap I'm on, and that picture would have been very typical of me and my dad and our relationship for the next 8 years. Me going out in the field with him on the tractor.
So you said saddle shoes. Is that where the meaning of saddle shoes comes from?
I guess so. I'm going to have to look that up. But I'm pretty sure that's what we called them. I think we called them saddle shoes.
Okay. All right.
White would have been saddle shoes, but those were black and white.
I see. Okay. All right. Well, let's go to a second story. Well, first of all, before we go to our second picture, would you mind sharing around the date you were born and the place?
October 1945. Just 3 months, not quite 3 months after the war in the Pacific ended. And my dad had served in the Pacific, but there were several deaths in his family. And he was allowed, or maybe called home, because farm production was as important as fighting in the military. And his older brother had died in 1942. And so my dad was called home to help farm what we called the home place.
So where was
but he
called
was still
home
serving
to?
in the military as an MP, traveling on trains, keeping order on the trains, as there were a lot of troop movements across the U.S. in those years via train.
And so where was he called home to? Where are you from?
Yeah, to southeastern Colorado, very close to the Kansas state line to the east of our farm, and the Oklahoma panhandle to the south. So when you think Colorado and where I grew up, do not think mountains, think flat, arid, high desert, or some people call it the high plains.
Okay. Right, yes. And so we visited, and we'll see some pictures of that in future episodes. But for the time being, let me ask you about a second picture. And this one, I don't know if you can see it or not, is of
I
it looks
can't.
like, okay, so it's a young you. I will fix the view so that you can see it sitting in a big basin in a backyard.
Okay. So actually, that is my, equivalent of the swimming pool. But that basin is also, that tub is what we took our Saturday baths in. I got to take the first bath. At this point, I'm an only child. When I was about 7.5 months old, my older sister, by a couple of years, died. So at this point, I'm an only child. As the baby, I get first bath on Saturday. My mother gets second bath, and my dad, because presumably he's the dirtiest, gets the third bath. And that tub would sit in on our kitchen linoleum floor until everyone finished their bath on Saturday night only.
And
Once
so, okay. And in this picture, it's sitting outside. So was that just during?
out. I'm sorry, what?
It's sitting outside in the picture. So does that mean this was during warm weather or something, another circumstance?
Yeah, this is playing. This is swimming.
Oh.
This is my little swimming pool in the summertime, in the hot weather.
And so, how many baths did you get a week?
One.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. And I have this memory of mortifying embarrassment. When I was going into the 8th grade, we moved to Colorado Springs. And I cannot remember the context of the conversation, but I was talking to a friend, and I mentioned something about on the farm having one bath a week, and he was aghast. He had grown up as part of a military family. From my point of view, a much more privileged background. It was like, what? You don't take a shower once a day? No. And I cannot tell you how mortified I was.
Oh my
Like,
God.
okay, I'm never going to confess anything else about growing up on the farm.
Wow. Okay, so let's do one, maybe two more pictures. Okay. Can you see this picture?
Yes.
All right. What's happening here?
Okay, this is my birthday. Maybe 4 years old now. 4 years old. And I am holding my Uncle Lewis's hand, my mother's younger brother. He's the baby of their family. She's the oldest, and Aunt Pauline is the middle child. They came along 1, 2, 3, 1 year apart. So her baby brother is 2 years younger than she is, with Aunt Pauline in the middle. And he also served in the Army during World War II. I don't know the details of his service. But again, for him, this would have just been 3 years after coming home from World War II. My pride in this picture is for my birthday, got those cowboy boots. And you'll see that my mother posed us to show my cowboy boots and Uncle Lewis's cowboy boots, because I wanted cowboy boots like Uncle Lewis's cowboy boots. And of course, I'm holding my baby doll.
Wow. And is that the same tractor in the background?
Yes, that would be the same tractor.
Okay. And whose farm are you on in this picture?
That's our farm. And I'm having a hard time getting my orientation here, because that would have been before my grandfather built our new garage. So I think behind us is the barn, and over to Uncle Lewis's left would have been the chicken house. But without the new garage there, the tree, the placement of things is a little bit confusing for me.
Okay. Well, let's go ahead and then talk about something else when we're going to animals. Here's another cute little picture that you had sent, which is you and a rooster. Tell us about the rooster.
Rooster is my pet rooster. For some reason, I was always terrified of the hens. So right behind us is the chicken house.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the hens must have chased me whenever I would go into the chicken yard. You can't quite see the fence in front of the chicken house, but they were fenced in, and that was their house where they laid their eggs. But for some reason, the rooster and I were buddies.
Wow.
All I remember is there I am holding that great big rooster, and I would never have done that with one of the hens.
Wow. So that's again on your farm in
Right.
southeastern Colorado.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's fantastic. So this was our first take.
One more thing in
Yeah.
that picture, between me and the chicken house, that's the clothesline. Because, of course, there were not clothes washers and certainly not dryers the way we think of them now. So, as I remember it, my mother would take the laundry into town to the laundromat, wash it, and then bring it home and hang it out on the clothesline.
Right. Wow. And this was the now mid 1940s.
Right. This would have been around 1948, I'm thinking.
Right. Okay. All right. Well, I wanted to get the our conversation started because you have so many interesting stories from your childhood and throughout your life, and I propose that we call this a Farm Girl Goes to Boston because, as viewers will see, as we go through, the progression of your life in these stories and looking at pictures, you went from your farm in southeastern Colorado to become a big city girl several times over. One of the first ones being Boston, and hence that's why I chose that name. And I, anyway, look forward to having this conversation from time to time and seeing where it goes.
I can't wait. Can't wait for the next one. Can't wait to see what pictures you unearth.
I know. It's going to be fun.
Great.
All right.
Thanks.